the radical, fundamental principles of freedom, rational self-interest, and individual rights. This is the Yaron Brook Show.
All right, everybody, welcome to Yaron Brook Show on this Thursday night. I'm supposed to stand back. I'm told I should stand back. Don't get too close to the camera, Yaron. All right, YouTube. The YouTube gods are working. It worked. First time. Click the button. Just worked the way it used to be. The way it's supposed to be. Anyway, I spent, I don't know, an hour today with somebody on the chat trying to fix the YouTube problem. YouTube was screwing me over. We fixed it. So now live streaming should be back to normal. Hopefully we won't have any more problems. So that's good news, right? We got to have some good news. The bad news is 2 people have already given me a thumbs down and I haven't even started the show. I mean, they literally took the time to go on before the show even started and click the thumbs down, and my guess is they're gone already. But wow. It's great. It's great that I'm getting to people, and they're so pissed off at me that they feel the need to go after me like that. All right. So I did a show on fear a little while ago, and I figure we need something more positive, right? So today we'll do a positive show on why you shouldn't be afraid, by why you should be positive. So this is a counter to the fear show. This is one of my rules for life. Got to be positive. You got to find the positive. You got to find your values. You got to be positive. Plus, we'll talk about this today. Evil is impotent. Fear is, in the end, impotent. The good, now it can kill you, but it's still impotent. It is the good that has all the power. So if we remember that the good has all the power, that'll help a lot. All right, a few announcements before we get to the actual programming. I am going to be in Europe next week. So I fly to London on Tuesday, so I'll be doing events in London on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday. But certainly Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursdays with LSC. Friday, I guess we're doing some of these Yaron Debates Europe. We're doing 2 of them in a row. You can come watch them live. Friday, I'm doing a live show from London. You can come and watch me do the show. And Saturday, we're doing a panel discussion. Couple of panels. On Saturday as part of something called the Free Market Roadshow. And I'll be on a panel with Eamon Butler and Daniel Hannon. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to be a lot of fun. So that's kind of London. On top of that, I just found out today, you remember that TV show I did in London for GB News? They had me on for like a 20-minute segment. And I was, that woman, asked me that question, and I think I really upset her afterwards. And anyway, I'm going to be on the show again. And this time they've invited me for the entire 3 hours. So my guess is that I will be part of the panel. So I will be part of the panel with kind of comments on different things that the show is covering. So 3 hours. The hissing sound is going to go away. It'll go away. Believe me, it'll go away. If you really focus on my voice and you start thinking positive, you won't hear the hissing sound. I think think that'll help as well. All right, so 3 hours on air on GB News. So if you're in the UK, turn on GB News at 9 p.m. on Friday, the 19th of September. Yes, the 19th of September. No, that's Sunday. 17th of September. And we will have, don't start with me, Wanda Freeman, again, with your noise to signal and all this other crap. There's some noise in the background. That's why you're hearing the hushing sound. It has nothing to do with anything else. Okay? So yes, we're taking over UK radio, TV. Sorry, UK TV. 3 hours. That is going to be a blast. I'm going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully, that woman is also on there with me, so I can help. I didn't change anything, and it's already better. I told you, if you think positive, it's all going to be better. It's all going to be better. Anyway, it's going to get much better in just 5 minutes, maybe 10. The noise will go away. I promise. It's my magic wand thing. So after UK, I'm going to be in Athens. I'm going to be giving a talk in Athens on Monday the 20th. I'm going to be giving a talk in Vienna in Austria on the 21st. And I'll be giving 2 talks. Well, a talk and a panel in Lisbon on Thursday the 23rd. So go for it. So hopefully if you live in Europe, you're probably not listening right now because it's really late at night, other than Tessie, who doesn't like to sleep, I guess, and likes to listen to the Yaron Brook show late at night. But if you're in Europe, hopefully you can make some of these shows and join us. They should be a lot of fun. Some of these live performances, no masks as far as I know. And yeah, it should be a good trip. So let me know if you're coming. Let me know when you show up to the event. Come up and introduce yourself. Tell me that you're a listener. That'll be a lot of fun to just to chat and to meet you face to face, not just through chat and through the anonymity of YouTube and podcasting. So I'm back on the road. This will be the first trip. Of course, you know that on October 12th, it's coming up. It's not that far. I'm debating the Marxist, whose name I've now forgotten, but I'm debating the Marxist at the University of Pennsylvania. So if anybody is in the area, as soon as I have information, I will let you know the particulars, but it'll be at the University of Pennsylvania. And as soon as I have information, I hope many of you will come to hear the show, to hear the debate. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm going to be in Connecticut, and then in November I'm going to be I'm speaking at Cornell. I might be speaking at Columbia at some point. I'm speaking at Michigan State, at another university in Michigan, then at Xavier University in Cincinnati. Yes, Wolf. I know Richard Wolf. I'm debating Richard Wolf. Anyway, we're back on. We're back traveling around the country, debating people, giving talks, like people, 3-dimensional. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun fall. It's good to be back to semi-normal. I had to cancel 2 events in the Netherlands because they just announced that Americans coming into the Netherlands have to, even if you're vaccinated, have to go into quarantine for 10 days. Thank you, Jennifer. It's Northwood University in Michigan. So a couple of University of Michigan, one in Ohio, one in New York State, maybe 2 in New York State, maybe Columbia as well, Pennsylvania. Back on the road, guys. Back on the road. And since Jill mentions UT Texas, there is a good chance that on December 8th, I will be debating at the University of Texas, in Austin. I will be debating conservatism versus individualism. So just in case you were worried that I was starting only to debate leftists, I will be debating a very, 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 very prominent conservative nationalist, one of the founders of the conservative nationalist movement, a philosopher, and that'll be at the University of Texas in Austin, probably December 8th. But I will keep you up to date on all those things. And anyway, life is returning to semi-normal with vaccine cards and everything. All right, just one comment on the news, because how could I not comment on the news today? Our panicky, ridiculous president in charge has Chazoni, December 8th at the University of Texas in Austin. I mean, it's not final, but it looks good that that'll happen. Our president-in-chief, our whatever-in-chief, our panicky-in-chief, proving that, that now everything is political and everything, I don't need these headphones, that everything is political and everything is a disaster and everything is a mess. Today, Joe Biden announced basically the closest we've come to a vaccine mandate. So he is going to ask, I mean, it's one thing that he has decided all federal workers have to be vaccinated. Fine. I mean, I hope half of them resign and they can't find replacement and the government shrinks by half. I mean, I don't have that much sympathy for government employees. But this is the thing that is really fascist and awful and horrible and just a continuation of what has happened in the past and kind of where we're heading. He announced today that I'm leaning in on the mic because I get excited and then I go back and I lean back in because I get excited. It's what I do. He announced today that he is going to ask OSHA. OSHA is the, I don't know what it stands for, but it's the work safety bureaucracy. It's the agency in the government responsible for work safety. They're like sending inspectors to make sure everybody's wearing hard hats in a construction site and that everything is good in a factory and whatever, right? OSHA. He is instructing OSHA to mandate that every company that has more than 100 people mandate that all their employees be vaccinated in the name of workplace safety. Now, that's just more of the same, the kind of authoritarianism that we saw from Trump with the what do you call it, eviction moratorium, right? Let's have the CDC in the name of fighting COVID issue a vaccine, what do you call it, eviction moratorium. What's it going to do with the CDC? What does the CDC have to do with landlords and renters and whether people pay their rent or not? It has nothing to do with it. But OSHA, thank you, best friend Hank, Occupational Health Safety Administration, has nothing to do with vaccines, has nothing to do with COVID, but if you come to work and you're not vaccinated, you're a threat to the vaccinated people? No. If you are not vaccinated, you're a threat to mostly to yourself. But the reason for doing this is pretty clear. This has nothing to do with science. This has nothing to do with COVID. This has nothing to do with anything related to what is on the minds of Americans right now. This has everything to do with Afghanistan. You might be laughing, what is Yaron talking about? How has this got to do with Afghanistan? This is basically to divert attention from the Biden administration's complete and utter, unequivocal failure with Afghanistan, and how embarrassed they look, and his ratings, favorable ratings, plummeted to Trump-like numbers. And basically, what he's doing is he's trying to create as much story, as much he's acting. He's competent. He knows what he's doing. He's using government to bring about the common good by forcing and coercing us. So he is trying to divert our attention from his failures to show himself as strong and active and engaged with this vaccine mandate and a 6-point plan to destroy COVID and everything else. So it's all a charade. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all politics. All politics. Has nothing to do with COVID. It has nothing to do with anything except the use of force in order to strengthen the political hand of a president in decline. And it'll probably work because most Americans love this kind of stuff, unfortunately. All right. So, I mean, there's tons to say about vaccine mandates, but, it's boring and it's predictable and we're all against it. And Apollo says Brett Weinstein and Rogan saying vaccine not as effective as natural immunity to the virus. Maybe, but so what? What does that have to do with it? Natural immunity is more generalized against different strains. Probably, but so what? None of that. I don't think any of that is important. The fact is, most people haven't had. I mean, my view is, and I'm going to do this about COVID, and then I'm not talking about COVID because we're going to go to the positive topic that we have listed today. I'm going to say this about COVID. I've said it, I've said it a number of times now. People should be tested. We all should have an incentive to go test ourselves for antibodies. Antibodies will be high, either if we had COVID already or if we got the vaccine. If the antibodies are high, you don't need a vaccine. Your likelihood of you getting sick from COVID, you might get COVID, but the likelihood of getting sick from COVID is very low. So, if your antibodies are low, I think the noise has gone away. If antibodies are low, then you probably, if you want to be protected from COVID, you probably need to be vaccinated or, take precautions. That's it. I mean, we've got to measure. We've got to measure. Mr. 200 Club says, when is Yaron going to be on Joe Rogan? Don't ask me or anybody listening to my show right now. The only person who knows the answer to that is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. Whenever Joe Rogan invites me on the show, I will be there. All right. Let's see. Yes, let's get back to our topic of the day. Look, the world sucks. I mean, there's so many bad things that are just happening constantly. You can't open up the news without it. People are afraid. People are panicky. In my fear show, I didn't even I didn't even mention the one source of fear that seems to be dominating most young people in the world today. I mean, dominating everything else and petrifying them and causing them not to sleep at night and causing them to really freak out. What's that? Well, it's climate change. I mean, people are completely nuts about the idea that the world is going to end in 10 years or 12 years or 15 years, that that we are all doomed, that the world is doomed, the children are doomed. So, people are petrified of everything. And just so you don't think that you're terrified. I know most of you are terrified by the left, by Biden and by what the left is doing, about critical race theory and about all this stuff and about the anti-fossil fuel crowd. You're petrified by all of those. And to some extent, you should be. But you're really, really scared of them. But the amazing thing is that the other side, the crazy leftists, are just as terrified of you as you are of them. So I'm doing this panel with Daniel Hannan on Saturday. And if you don't know who Daniel Hannan is, look him up. He's a pro-Brexit, conservative/libertarian, former member of the European Parliament from the Conservative Party in the UK. He is one of the best, free market kind of politicians that I know, certainly in Europe. He's very good on a lot of issues. Generally, I like him a lot, right? Anyway, we're doing a panel, but Daniel Hannan is hated by the left in the UK, just hated. So it looks like they're organizing to come and disrupt our event. Maybe Antifa will show up. Who knows? Anyway, on one of the tweets when they're talking about this, This is what one of the Twitter people writes, just to give you a sense of how the other side thinks is a strong enough word, feels. So this is just his tagline, right? Jack stopped the coup, Bannon arrested the great hack. You can already see that he's a little paranoid. But anyway, started reading Daniel Hannon's Things Are Not Going Back to Normal, which is his latest book. Absolutely awful and terrifying. These far-right, international fascist libertarians seem to be getting away with it. So anyway, this is a guy who thinks that the far-right international fascist libertarians are winning, and that Daniel Hannon somehow represents the far-right international fascist libertarians. Now, I'm glad he didn't put objectivist in there, so I feel relieved that I'm not part of that group. On the other hand, I wish I was getting away with it, because he seems to think they're getting away with it. It's just as we're worried about the Great Reset, so these guys, they're worried about a Great Reset towards fascist libertarianism. That'll be interesting. So the dominant view out there is a fear. But this is the thing about evil. What is evil? Right? Well, this is the thing about evil. The thing about evil is that evil is, at the end of the day, impotent. Evil cannot be successful without the good. Evil can produce nothing, do nothing, create nothing, build nothing, make nothing, unless aided by the good. What is evil? Evil is the irrational. Evil is the evasive. Evil is the anti-values. Evil is death and destruction. What is the good? The good is a values orientation. The good is the rational. The good is focused. The good is productive. The good is creative. The good builds. Evil destroys. So, evil is not a force in the world. There's no devil out there seducing people and cutting deals with them and getting them to do bad things. Evil is people evading, people being irrational. Evil is people, real evil are people who emotionally are driven to destroy, to demolish values. Now, the irrational does not have power. The irrational can't discover anything new. The irrational can't build anything of substance. The irrational can't plan, can't produce, can't create. It's only to the extent that they can either coerce or influence the good to do can they be efficacious. Valdrin says, well, what about Ellsworth Tui? By the way, you really should be using Super Chat to ask these kind of questions. Well, what about Ellsworth Tui? Well, Ellsworth Tui is impotent. He cannot succeed. He cannot have an impact. He cannot destroy. He cannot act without what? Without the good. Without somebody building a newspaper, somebody sanctioning him, somebody supporting him. Tui is evil. Right? But he's a parasite. He can only live off the good. He can't keep it up. And to the extent that he keeps it up, again, he can only keep it up to the extent that somebody will support him. This is the whole message of Atlas Shrugged. When the good disappear, when the good vanish, evil can't hold anything up. It all just crumbles and goes to hell. So what you have to remember is that you have power. You have the power of the good on your side. You have the power of reason and of rationality. You have the power to shape the world around you. And you have the power to withdraw your sanction from those who are evil. You do not have to deal with them. Now, they will try to curse you. They're all around you. But you can minimize your involvement with them. You can refuse to sanction them. And you can live your life based on your principles, based on the good, which means based on values, based on pursuit of values, based on reason and rationality, based on thinking for yourself. So, by being afraid, by focusing on your fear, by focusing on all the bad in the world, you're giving them power over your life. You're letting them impact you far beyond what they're actually capable of doing. What you should be doing, and we've talked about this over and over and over again, don't move to Texas, because Texas has these anti-life, anti-human laws now that are just disgusting and despicable. But, take control of your life. Move to the places that makes most sense for you. Oops. Focus your life, your thinking, your values on what is in your control. On what you can do without sanctioning, supporting, helping your destroyers. Find good people and surround yourself with good people. People who are going to reinforce your values, not hurt them and knock them down. Don't let yourself get stuck in patterns of behavior that are destructive. And that includes people who are talking about move here, move there. It includes where you live. If where you live sucks, don't live there anymore. Just because you've always lived there doesn't mean you should. So the important thing to always remember is that the good, the rational, the valuer is all powerful. It is the power that fuels your life. Wanda Freeman says, answer one free question if you get 75 likes now. All right, if we get 75 likes now, I will answer one free question. But I'm not supposed to talk about all these things during the show. Ron will be very upset with me. So, I've said this many times. Don't focus so much on the world out there that you can't really control, that you can't do much about. Surround yourself with people that you like, that you love, that are supportive, that appreciate you for who you really are. Not because you're a family member, but because you're a good person, because you're a rational person. They appreciate the fact that you're rational. Don't be afraid to move. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to live. Yeah, in many respects, the world is going to hell. But in other respects, we're living in the best time ever. I mean, again, think about what we're doing right now. You're watching me live. You guys are all over the world. You're commenting. We're having a discussion. You're hopefully being inspired or enlightened or interested or whatever, entertained. Couldn't do this just a few years ago. We live in a world where you could create a lot of wealth. Now, I don't know what the future holds in terms of the economy. Neither do you. Neither does Peter Schiff. All you can do is control your life. produce, create, build, invest, position yourself so whatever happens in the future, it won't be catastrophic. So again, the real power lies with those of us who are rational. Don't give in to the irrationality. Don't give in to the irrationality of the right, because there are allies right now in fighting the left. Don't give in to the irrationality of the left, because maybe the allies now fighting something of the right, like abortion rights. Because by granting them your sanction, you're emboldening them. You're giving them what they don't deserve, and you are strengthening them, and you're providing them what they don't have. What they don't have is rationality, morality, values on their side. You have those. And you should feel empowered and emboldened. Don't be afraid to tell people they're full of it, because most of them are, most of the time. They really are full of it. And your position is a rational position. I mean, if you hold it as a rational position, not just as Ayman said so, Yaron said so, something, but if you hold it as a rational position, don't be afraid of anybody. Speak up. Let them know. You don't have a duty to do that, but you'll feel good when you do it. It'll give you a sense that you're fighting, that you are standing up for the good, that you're not letting him override you, overtake. Landon asks, could the power of good be reformed to say the power of values? Yes, but even better would be the power of reason. Landon says, this I got out of Greg's talk that the nature of evil is anti-values. Yes, but the nature of evil is, the consequence is anti-values, or the manifestation of it is anti-values, but it's anti-reason, it's anti-rationality, it's anti-reality, it's anti-nature, and as a consequence, it's anti-values. And the nature of the good is pro-life, and of course anti-values means anti-life. Pro-life, pro-reason, because reason is man's basic means of survival, pro-happiness, pro-rationality, pro-success, anti, and it's how things are built. Ragnar, thank you. So anybody can ask a question off of Ragnar's $500 super chat, which, yeah, I'm not sure. So if you just ask it in the chat, I'll try to pick it up. We'll do a few free questions off of that. I just want to continue with Landon because, by the way, Greg Salamir's talk at Ocon, you should definitely listen to. It was a very powerful talk on the nature of evil. Landon writes, also, I have to experience the good people of Ocon and Luke's art tour, a world of values I rarely see. I felt like I came home, a better husband and a parent. Absolutely. Look, life is all about the pursuit of values. Life is all about, I keep saying living with a capital L, but that's about values. It's about taking the things that are in your control and leveraging them to the hilt, making the most of them. And what's in your control? Well, to some extent, your career is your control. Take it seriously. Work hard. Be good. How good of a husband you are. Your relationship with your wife is in your control. It's not some external thing. It's not Biden forcing you to be a bad husband. It's not, what do you call it? Critical race theory, forcing you to treat your kids badly or ignore them generally. No, it's you. You have to make a choice about what kind of husband, what kind of parent you are going to be and how you are going to behave. So, in a sense, make a list. Here's a good homework assignment, guys. Make a list of the things that are your control. Things that are mostly. Put a percentage. How much of my control? How much of these things are in my control? Your career. I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 80% in your control. Your relationship with your kids. 100% in your control. The kind of art you put on the walls. 100% in your control. The kind of stuff you do on your time off when you don't have anything, when you're not working and stuff. 100% in your control. Make a list of the things that are majority in your control. And then make them count. Under each one of them, write down a sentence in terms of what are you going to do? What are you going to do to be better, to be more fulfilled, to be more active, to be more engaged with the things that are in your control. Right? And just generally write down, and I'm serious, how much of your time are you going to spend on things that are in your control versus things that are not? Like, I can't control what other people do. So how much time am I going to spend worrying about it? I can't worry about what other people do. It's their problem, not mine. I spend time worrying about what I can do. Thinking about what I can do. Worrying is the wrong term. So, Vesey says, I kind of want to argue with you. I don't know who you want to argue with. I'm looking for these questions. You've got questions for free. The first question is, what does Ragnar do that he throws around these big dollars? I'll let Ragnar answer if he wants to. They're stealing your children away from you. How does one choose between feeding them or raising them? What? Who's stealing your children away from you? All of you can find ways to send your kids to private schools. And if there's no good private school near you, move. If your kids have value, move to where the good schools are. And you say, oh, but private schools are so expensive, or some private schools are so expensive. Look into schools like Higher Ground. Are they that expensive? Are there things that you can give up that would make that possible? It's just a question of your hierarchy of values. Just a question of where you want to spend your money. So every one of those things on the list, every one of those things that are in your control, what can you do to make them better? What can you do to make them a success? What can you do so that you're happy with regard to those things? Because if you are happy with regard to those things, you will be happy. You have power over your life. You have free will. You have reason, which is your tool for making life better. You don't have a job, your boss doesn't appreciate you, quit, go somewhere else. People spend their life making excuses for why they're unhappy. Spend their life making excuses for why they have failed. I know objectivists who never achieved anything in their life. Anything in their life. And when you ask them why, because they should be inspired by Reardon and Rook and Dagny, Francisco and Ragnar. Why haven't they made anything of their life? The government, the world is irrational, people are irrational, context is irrational. Sorry, excuses. There's so many things you can do. There's so many good people in the world out there. Look at all the stuff being created, being built, being made by people. If you're ambitious, if you care about your life, if you're willing to make the effort, if you're willing to engage your mind, if you're willing to be rational, if you're willing to be brave, then why not? Why can't you make your life be like Dagny's or Reardon's? I mean, not at the level of their genius, but at whatever level you have. Make the most of your life. Rob says, I wonder what would happen if I tweeted the Yaron Brook is answering questions for free tonight. Go for it. Let's see what would happen. I'm curious. Derek asks, how do you think positively if you're in your life impacts your relationships? Do you find it rallies a certain type of person to your side? Relieved at not having the fundraising mid-show. Thanks for the Opa talk at Okan. Oh, my pleasure. At the end, I enjoyed that Opa talk in Okan. I was nervous as hell about it, but I did enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, I think it helps if you think positively, if you focus on the good, if you internalize the idea that the bad is not significant, the pain can only go so far. Famous line from Brook. I'm misquoting, but it's something like that. The pain can't go too deep. That you're going to focus on your values. You're going to focus on pursuit of your values, on your happiness. And in a sense, let the world go to hell. Yes, it's going to impact you, but you're going to find the best way possible for you to navigate in that world to make you as happy as you can be. And if you focus on that, you can achieve anything. There's nothing you can't achieve if you put your mind to it. I mean, yes, of course, there are things you can achieve, but rational things within the context of the world in which we live. And yes, relationship with other people, people who rally towards you. People want to be led by somebody who's positive, particularly in a darkening world, particularly in a world that seems to be oppressive. So in the spirit of free questions, Landon writes, I was kind of surprised how many people at Okan were not physically healthy. One's body should be a super high value if you want to get the most out of life. Do I need to drag you all to the gym? Yeah, I mean, having a healthy body and being in the gym and getting exercise and having a certain level of strength and being healthy. I mean, it's a bottom line activity. Eating well is about health. It's about living long, but not just the length. It's about the quality of the life in between. And the stronger you are, the higher the quality of the life is going to be moving into as you get older. And if you get old and you're fragile because you haven't taken care of yourself, it's going to be hard. But again, this is the point. So many people get depressed. Oh, the world sucks. Who has the energy to go to the gym today when the world sucks? No excuses. So, going back to Derek's question, there's no question that being positive helps relationships. It inspires people around you. It helps them keeping going. There's some people who psychologically find it very difficult to be positive. They're oriented towards the negative. They're oriented towards problems. They're oriented towards seeing the darkness. You got to fight that. But some people have a hard time fighting it, but you can inspire them. I mean, they're good people that, for a variety of psychological reasons, focus on the negative. But you can inspire them. You can help them. And the best way to help them is by staying focused on the positive, acknowledging that the negatives exist. They're not making stuff up. But that's not the essence of life. That's not. it doesn't add anything. It doesn't help you pursue values. It tells you what to avoid, which is important, but not enough to keep you going. So life, we've talked about this many times, life is about the pursuit of values. Values are positive things. So I'm going to copy these questions over, these free questions, right? So questions that do not have a super chat attached to them. And I will answer them later, right? But I will try to get to all of them. And I might miss some questions because one of the advantages of super chat is that they jump at you. So if you want to ask a free question, the best way to do it is to use the super chat and do it for 99 cents or something, which is basically free. But at least that way I can see it. You know, there's so many things that are enjoyable, that are fun. I mean, I find myself not having enough time in the day to do the things that I want to do, that I enjoy doing. I mean, there's music to be listened to, and then movies to be watched. Not just the ones I have to review for the show, but movies to be watched for the fun of it. There are TV shows to see. There's art to contemplate. There are poems to read, novels to read. But then beyond that, there's just work to be done. Values to be produced. You know, Richard says he loved watching an expert wood splitter. I love watching an expert anything. It's fun to watch people who really, really, really know what they're doing. And I love the product of it, the new restaurants to go visit and to eat at. There's so many positives in our lives that to a large extent it's just about opening our eyes and allowing ourselves to see them and taking our focus away from the negatives, taking our focus away from the crap, and orienting our minds towards our values. Right? What sculpture do you want in your office? Where can you find it? How much does it cost? Should I save money for it? I mean, if people spend as much time on things like that as they did on, oh my God, we've got a vaccine mandate, the world is ending, we'd live in a better place because we'd be happier. Happier people vote better, they expect more of their politicians, they generally are going to be good on the political side as well. Depressed people make the world a worse place, not a better place. Wanda Freeman says, that reminds me, American have invented plenty of good art. Tap dancing, okay, boogie woogie, jazz, yeah, some jazz. Yeah, but these, almost all of them are the good art, but the lighter art forms. The less value-laden art forms. And yeah, I mean, it's not that America isn't anything in terms of art, but it's just a lightweight when it compares to France or Germany or Russia, places like that. Or even England. I mean, England had some amazing painters, for example, in the 19th century, just stunning ones. And America had some good sculptors and good painters in the 19th and early 20th century. Not a huge number, not as good, but they were reasonably good. I've got one of the things we did just the other day is we've started to we built these new bookcases, not these ones, but more, because I have plenty more books. And what we did was these are going to be in the living room, and they're just going to be for art books. So which was a lot of fun, we got to unpack all the art books that we bought from California, all the art books we bought over the years. And we got some amazing books in there. some just stunning things. And so things like that. We have a lot of art books. I mean, big ones with beautiful pictures. Probably have 4 different books just on Michelangelo's David. But, I mean, find the things that give you joy in life, that make you smile, that you enjoy doing, and surround yourself with stuff like that. And that's, you know, that's the power of goodness. All right, now I have a few questions. I have a few questions that were submitted outside of the Super Chat, but money was attached. So I'm going to cover those, and a couple of them are related to this issue. So I want to talk about those, and then we'll get to your Super Chat questions and free questions, if we can find any free questions, and whatever else you guys want. So let me take this one. Hearing you talk about statistics of left-leaning professors in fear for their careers, where exactly is the seemingly overwhelming power coming from that has the world quivering? Careers ending, mass media dramatically conforming, and seemingly everyone kowtowing. I recently read an article by comedian David Spade lamenting the complete watering down of his profession of comedy. Where's the seemingly overwhelming power coming from? Is it simply a massive sanction of the victim? Now that is, if I can say so, an excellent question. I mean, a really, really, really good question. Why are they successful? Critical race theory is the tiniest minorities in the world believe in it. Very few people even know what it is. People who censor all this stuff in academia, it's the minority. Most professors in academia don't believe in this anti-free speech, anti-thinking, anti-reason mentality. Now, they might be anti-reason in other realms, but they're not nihilists like these people are. They're not egalitarians like these people are. Most people don't care about offensive comedy. A few do. So where does the power come from? Where does the power to silence come from? Where does the power to bring about this kind of fear come from? What are they afraid of? Well, they're afraid of the people in power. But why are the people in power who don't necessarily believe this stuff, why are they succumbing to it? Why are they inflicting it? And this is the power of morality. You see, the nutcases on the left, and I know nutcases is not right because they're not technically nutcases and maybe diminishes who they are. The far left, the irrational left, the nihilistic left, is a tiny minority. But they are confident morally. They have a certain point of view. The point of view is, for the most part, disgusting and wrong. But they assert it with confidence. They won't take any questioning of it. They are right. They are just. Most of the other people think they're wrong, think the CRT types are wrong, they think they're bad, but they don't know what's good. They don't have an ideal. They don't have a philosophy. They don't have a morality. So the woke are confident. They assert their morality without question. Just to use, social media, for example. They will retweet the most ridiculous tweets because they're convinced that they are right. And they don't care if everybody knows it, and they don't care if everybody hates them for it. The problem is that the opposition they face is timid, is quiet, is embarrassed. Now, there are two types of opposition. One is the timid, the quiet, the embarrassed, the intellectual, the thoughtful, thoughtful in a negative sense, in the sense of Hamlet. Should I do it or shouldn't I do it? Well, no. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll wait. I'll think about it tomorrow. The timidity of overthinking, if you will. So the opposition is timid. Or the opposition is as nutty as they are, just from a different perspective. That's why I'm not in favor of forming coalitions with nutcases, even if what you're fighting are nutcases. It's the timid, quiet, and lack confidence. They will not assert themselves because they don't stand for anything. I mean, center left, center right, what do they stand for? What do they believe in? What are they confident in? What are the values they're willing to fight over? It's just not worth it for them. They'd rather be afraid than fight. They'd rather cower than take a stand. And that's what has to change. To defeat wokeism, all it takes is the people who oppose wokeism to stand up and say, bullshit, we're not taking this anymore. Go to hell. What you're saying is nonsense. Bye. We're not even going to argue with you. We're not going to even make this a debate. We just don't buy into it. We're not going to be afraid anymore. We're going to publish the articles we want. We're going to say what we want to say. We're going to use whatever words we want to use. You want to fire all of us? Fire all of us. Every single member of this department, or every single member of the university. Fire them all. You see, the good has real power if it's willing to stand up for themselves. Because these woke people, they can't run a company. Not really. They can't survive the good guys walking out on them or just standing up to them. They would fold immediately. There's nothing there. There's no there. Yeah, the Wizard of Oz is a good analogy. They thrive on the meekness of the opposition. They thrive on the unprincipled nature of the opposition. They thrive on the fact that nobody will stand up to them. Just imagine all the professors who are not woke at a university saying, we quit. The university will collapse. And then all those woke professors will be homeless under a bridge somewhere because they can't work. So, evil is impotent. The good has power if the good uses it, if the good stands for something, if the good knows it's good and knows why it's good. If you understand evil as anti-values, you shouldn't tolerate one iota of it. So leave, resign, move on. You're going to do better than appeasing these people. You can always do better than appeasing these people. So I thought that was an excellent question because it's shocking how tiniest of minorities right now, the tiniest of minorities, is basically taking over the thinking in this country. Not because anybody thinks they're right, but because the people who oppose them remain quiet. And this is why I say speak up. Make your voice heard. In whatever capacity you can. Thanks, best friend Hank. All right, another question relates somewhat to the topic. I just read Viktor Frankl's Man Searching for Meaning. Even though it's premised on mysticism and altruism, he does write some good yet contradictory things about the individual finding meaning. That pursuit of meaning in unspeakable horror saved his life and that of others in the concentration camps. He also speaks of that meaning not coming from rationalizing, but from the real world. Among the many contradictions, he does at times show respect for the individual as opposed to the tribe. I'm interested in your view of the book. Unfortunately, I haven't read it, so I don't have a view of the book. And perhaps being a rule for life for finding meaning in the fundamental sense rather than superficial things. like wanting to be popular, powerful, etc. I know you do talk about being purpose-driven. That's what meaning really is. But wondering if there might be another perspective on this topic worth considering. I mean, there's always more to say about meaning and purpose. Ryan, thank you. I appreciate the support. I mean, what is the meaning of your life? Well, it's what you give it. It's what you make of it. And I think most people don't have a meaning or purpose to life because they never think of it. They never consider it. They never pursue it. And they're told that the purpose and the meaning requires sacrifice and requires tribalism, requires something outside of them, bigger than them. They don't even have a clue what to look at. But the meaning and purpose of your life is in you. It's you. It's, in a sense, your life. That's the meaning of your life. Your meaning of your life is your life. To give your life meaning is to make your life meaningful, which means make your life impactful. On what? On you, on your life, and on the world out there. Be ambitious. Drive yourself. Strive. Have big, audacious values, goals. Don't be timid in setting goals. Don't look for the easy way out. Challenge yourself, push yourself at any age in life, on any topic you want in life. Don't settle. Don't cruise. Don't relax. Not in a epistemological sense. I mean, you can relax once in a while, but don't make relaxation the purpose of life. Meaning comes from the pursuit of your happiness. What'll give your life meaning is happiness. What'll give your life meaning is the values that are important to you and that are pro-life. And those you find in you. Those you find in your life, your circumstances, your context, your abilities, your knowledge, your passions. Be the best that you can be in everything that you do. And that's where meaning will come to. Now, if you're in a concentration camp, the only place to find meaning is in survival. In the ability to survive and to imagine a world afterwards. If you can't imagine a world after concentration camp, if this is going to be in perpetuity, then death is your only out. Because to live in agony is not a life. That's why it's about happiness. Be your own person. Be your own thinker. Be your own doer. Think for yourself. Act for yourself. Be selfish, right? That's the theme of Rules for Life, right? Your life is the priority. Your happiness is your priority. Everything else is secondary. In everything, in every choice, consider how it affects your life, your happiness, and make the choice to support your life and your happiness. That, I think, is what it means to have meaning. And if you lose any hope of happiness, as some people did in the concentration camp, then life becomes meaningless, and therefore giving up your life becomes the right thing to do. But what I think would help you keep going is imagining and understanding the impotence of evil. The Nazis had to lose. It's just a question of time. Could you survive until they lost? Evil is impotent. Evil will fail. Evil will not be successful. It is not efficacious because the tool for efficaciousness, the tool for success, The tool for productivity, the tool for longevity is what? It's human reason. It's rationality. It's exactly what evil negates. It's exactly what evil rejects. So hold on to that spark, that knowledge that happiness is possible to you. Hold on to the idea that only the good has power, and that whatever temporal power evil seems to have, it won't last. It cannot survive. All right. Let's see. Other topics, other questions related to this. Best Fed Hank says, there's so much pressure, external pressure, to not be selfish for the sake of the children or the nation, etc. But it's exactly for the sake of the children you should be selfish. For the sake of your children, at least. I don't know about other people's children. I mean, their happiness and well-being is part of your happiness, well-being. Your success is going to reflect on them. Your well-being is their well-being. Their children. They're under your care. You better be successful. You better be happy. You'll be a much better father if you're happy. The nation? I know some of you will be shocked, but who cares about the nation? What kind of value is the nation? I mean, I have nothing against nations. I'm not an anarchist. But the nation is just a collective of individuals like me. And if all those collective individuals are miserable, then who cares about the nation? The purpose is for the nation is there to create an environment in which you can be selfish. You can pursue your happiness. You can be successful, whatever you choose to be successful at. Use your mind, choose your values, pursue those values. The job of the nation is to protect your ability to do exactly that. Thank you, Zalmi. Why is some amorphous group out there more important than my life, and my values, and my happiness? Okay, Joe asks, one thing I struggle with, I think may be common, is that I have a tendency to get discouraged at my position in life or degree of my achievement. Seeing giants, it can be easy to forget that things change by a process. Yes, I mean, look, you have to be realistic about who you are and what your skill set and what you're capable of doing. Not everybody can be a giant. Right? I mean, when I read Atlas Shrugged, the character that most spoke to me in a sense, as I could identify with, was not Dagny or Reardon. That would have been unbelievably arrogant of a 16-year-old. It was Eddie Willis. A guy who's kind of average, but gets the job done and believes and has positive values and tries to do the best that he can and live the best life that he can within his ability. Be a great Eddie Willis. And of course, Ayn Rand's giving you a philosophy of John Galt. Eddie Willis with a philosophy of John Galt, living in a semi-free society, would do phenomenally well. So take whatever your skill level, whatever your ability is, and make the most of it. You know, you're probably not going to be Steve Jobs. Don't try to be. Try to be you. Try to be the best version of you can be. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but that's reality. Figure out what your strengths are and sharpen them, strengthen them. Go to the gym on them. Right? Work on that. So, you know, and if you're in your 20s, you haven't lived enough to achieve anything. You know, you're still trying to find your path. In your 20s, your job is to figure out what your path is. In your 20s, your job is not to, am I a giant yet? No, in your 20s, your job is, what do I love doing? What do I want to do? How do I become good at what I want to be, or what I want to do? What is the path? Not, why haven't I arrived yet? Well, of course, you're in your 20s. How could you arrive? Your job is to arrive by, I don't know, your late 40s, 50s. How do you set yourself on a course when you're 20s to get there? Right? Be ambitious. Work hard. Use your mind. Think, think, think. Don't let your emotions distract you. Find great friends. Find great lovers. Live. Stay focused. You're not everybody's going to be a Howard Rourke or a Reardon or a Dagny. That's reality. Shazbot asks, where did you eat the best burger you've ever had? God. Hard to tell. I mean, I know I ate the best lamb burger I ever ate, and I love lamb burgers. The best lamb burger I ever had was at a restaurant called, I think it's called Paris. It's in the Paris Hotel in Vegas. It's like, maybe it's called the Eiffel Tower, but it's in the Eiffel Tower. It's the restaurant in the Eiffel Tower in the Paris Hotel in Vegas. The best lamb burger I ever had. That was really good. Actual hamburger that I ever had. Not In-N-Out, give me a break. I don't know. I've eaten a lot of good burgers. When would it become prudent to rebel against the government? Is it even possible to accomplish a revolution these days, or is it futile? I mean, it would be proven to rebel against the government when there were enough people on your side that you could make a dent, that you could actually imagine winning, or at least making a strong showing and making a strong case for what you're about. Right? I think that is, that's when it becomes prudent to rebel. Now, granted that, the government has to be attacking free speech. Rebellion has to be taken seriously. There's no real opportunity to change the political system from within. All that's left is rebellion. Then you have to make sure you could win. And I would say, before you rebel against your government, check out to see maybe there are places you can live and have a good life that don't require use of force. All right, let's see. Any other questions on topic? Not that. All right, let's just take these questions that are not on topic. All right. Why has the pro-abortion position been such a bedrock issue for the left? There's certainly no advocates of individual rights. What is it particularly about abortion that they embrace? It's partially a rejection of the religious notion of the spark of God at conception, right? So part of their defense of abortion is, at the worst, an emotional response to, hey, I'm pregnant, I don't want to have the pregnancy, I don't want to be pregnant, I don't want the baby, I should be able to get rid of the baby. So it's not individual rights they're identifying, but they are identifying their right to their own body, their right to do with their body as they see fit. I mean, this is why they tend to be pro-drug legalization or pro-legalizing prostitution and other things, is because they recognize to some extent this idea that, hey, it's my body, hands off. Why are you dealing with it? Now, They have a flip side view of it when it comes to healthcare for a variety of reasons. But so it's partially this, don't touch my body. Note, Ayn Rand made this observation that the left believes that everything is material. There's no mind. So Marx was a materialist. So they want to control the material world. They don't care about the spiritual world. So they don't buy into the soul that the fetus might have or anything like that the right represents. It's much more about how the mother feels. And the better people have a decent conception of it's not yet a human being. Not in a full sense of the word, not in the sense that it is gained. And so they're not very good at defending abortion because beyond it's my body, leave me alone, they don't have an argument for it. Right? So it is interesting how the left and the right choose their issues, which ones. I mean, the right wasn't always so anti-abortion, particularly evangelicals. Evangelicals were not very anti-abortion until they were rallied around that issue in the mid-1970s. Before then, they either didn't care or pretty pro-abortion. But then it was a political campaign to rally them around an anti-abortion issue. Catholics, I think, have mostly always been anti-abortion, but evangelicals have not. It's not an issue that necessarily falls in one direction or the other. It's much more about politics and tribe than it is about anything else. I mean, there's very much a conception of if I'm pro-abortion and I'm on the right, I'm kind of betraying my brothers and sisters on the right, so I shouldn't be pro-abortion. I see that a lot. It's like, I belong in this group, and this group is against abortion, so I should be against abortion. I think Goldwater was pro-abortion, yes. I don't think he ran on that, but he certainly was later on. And Reagan wasn't against abortion when he was governor of California. He was pro-abortion and governor of California. But what Reagan realized in the 1970s was that he could capture this religious right vote, that he could capture these evangelicals who had given up on Jimmy Carter, that were moving away from Jimmy Carter. And so he became much more pro-religion, much more against abortion as he was running for president than he was beforehand. He was much better in the 60s than he was in the 70s intellectually. Philip asks, off the topic, what is the difference between open and closed objectivism? I've answered this question so many times. Well, first, there is no such thing as open objectivism. Look, this is the issue. Ayn Rand named a philosophy. And she named a particular philosophy. She didn't name the truth. She named her philosophy, her ideas, her writings. She was very clear on this, that the name did not relate to some generalized view of philosophy where people could contribute and detract and change, add and subtract and develop and improve and so on. She had developed a particular set of ideas represented by the things she wrote in her books and the things that she approved of that other people wrote. That is objectivism, because that's how Ayn Rand defined it. So it can't be open because it can be added to, it can be elaborated on, it can be improved. It just is. It's a closed system because that's how Ayn Rand defined it. She named it. It's not a popular name of a philosophy out there. And Ayn Rand said, yeah, I'm one of those objectivists. Now, that doesn't mean Ayn Rand was right about everything. It doesn't mean you can't develop a philosophy. It doesn't mean you can't make changes. Just don't call it objectivism. So the truth is open in a sense. Philosophy is open in a sense. The study of Ayn Rand is open. Objectivism, the name she gave to her ideas, is closed. Kelly is a fraud because what Kelly tries to do is add virtues and misinterpret Ayn Rand or interpret it in ways that clearly she would have objected to and call it objectivism. And he says, oh, I can call anything I want objectivism. Why? Because I'm a philosopher and I like Ayn Rand. And I've studied Ayn Rand, and I think this is consistent with Ayn Rand. Therefore, even if it's different than Ayn Rand, it's objectivism. By what criteria, by what standard, who gets to determine? This is exactly what she wanted to prevent. She wanted to prevent what happened to Aristotle, where everybody became an Aristotelian, even people who were clearly enemies of Aristotle. So, if you think Ayn Rand is wrong on something, then great, call it Kellyism. And say Kellyism is a development of objectivism. It's an improvement on objectivism. If he'd said Kellyism is an improvement on objectivism, then I would disagree, but I wouldn't think he had committed a moral sin, and I wouldn't call him a fraud. Right? All right. So objectivism is closed. It's what Ayn Rand defined. But again, objectivism does not equal the truth. Objectivism does not equal everything in philosophy that's yet to be discovered. Objectivism doesn't mean your mind should be closed. I did a whole Yaron's Rules for Life on this. You should be a truth seeker. You know, and you should follow the truth, wherever that leads you. Right? So it's a Kelly is a fraud because he misrepresents his ideas as hers, and she's not alive to protect us, to defend herself. Right? So it's my job, or our job, as at the Ayn Rand Institute, to do it to the best of our ability. I'm sure she would do it better. Part of his motivation is to gain respectability from Ayn Rand. It's to gain, and to show he's an independent thinker. It's really, really important. Show he's an, now, look, the Yaron Brook show is based on objectivism, but the Yaron Brook show is not objectivism, because Ayn Rand did not approve of this. Now, I think it's consistent, mostly, but a lot of it's me reinterpreting, reconfiguring. But names do not. Objectivism is not a concept. Objectivism is a naming. So Athens doesn't evolve. Athens is Athens, this city. I mean, I guess you could by decree expand its borders, but given that, imagine that somebody owned Athens. Only they could decide what is included in Athens. So concepts are open, and you could add new knowledge, and they can change, the definitions can change, but not names. All right. How do you comment on Ragnar Dentskold robbing wealth and giving it back to the owners? Well, I mean, it's part of a revolution. Ragnar does it in the context of changing the world, and of making a statement. It's his He's assisting in bankrupting the world. But it's part of a revolution. It's not just being a robber for the sake of being a robber, even if he's giving it to the good guys. It's for the sake of decimating the existing world so that we can rebuild it better. So that goes back to the revolution question. You know, Ragnarok would be appropriate once we decide to go engage in revolution. And revolution can have many different guises. One of them could be a Ragnar-like activity. Best Friend Hank asks, I was asked a while back at my new job as to why I'm always happy and nice. I tell them that I'm free. Yeah, and rational and selfish. That'll get them. But if people ask you why you're always happy and nice, tell them. Give them a copy of The Fountainhead. That is like the best opening in the world. And that's what we should all be. We should all be happy and nice. And people should look at us and say, ooh, what makes those people special? Ideas. These ideas. Please embrace them. Join us in happiness. Not the happiness of a cult. The happiness of rational beings. Charlie asks, why does it seem that politicians and people in general can't think in principle? Why is it so hard? Is it a moral issue? Because they cannot think in principle. It doesn't just seem that way. It's that they can't. They haven't been taught. And they don't believe it's right. See, particularly in America, we live in a world of pragmatism. Pragmatism not just in action, but pragmatism is an ideal. Pragmatism means there are no principles. Everything's case by case. Sometimes lying works and sometimes it doesn't. So you just need to evaluate every case in and of itself. Principles. The world is too complicated for principles. Of course, it's exactly the other way around. The world is too complicated not to have principles. But it's the intellectual rejection of objectivity, and of morality. You see, they associate morality and moral principles with altruism. Who the hell wants to be altruistic? Nobody. So they reject all morality. And therefore, what are you left with if you reject morality? We'll just shoot from the hip. We'll just take it as it comes. We'll be pragmatic, none of principles. And if your only principles you're familiar with are altruistic ones, who the hell wants to live by principle? All right. Andrew writes, Peter Kidding was the life of the party and empty inside. How does second-handedness affect positivity? He wasn't the life of the party. I mean, he appeared to be the life of the party, but he was empty inside. Positivity is about how you are inside. Oh, I see what you're asking. How does second-handedness? Well, second-handedness means you're living by other people's standards. Well, bad things are going to happen to you if that happens. It's going to be very hard to be positive. When the standards are not yours, it's very hard to be positive. When the values are not your values, the values chosen for you by other people. Peter Kidding's mother chose his career for him. Is he going to be really positive about his career? Given that it's not what he wanted, not what he chose? So positivity comes from valuing. Positivity comes from valuing. To value is to be a first-hander. Other people's values are not your values. You're not valuing. And therefore, you're empty. You're nothing. You're not living for anything. And it's not even that bad things will happen. Nothing happens. Certainly no positive things. Positivity means control. Positivity means to value. And second-handedness makes that impossible. Hey, Yaron, who is the smartest person you've ever met, and can you tell us a bit about that interaction? Who's the smartest person I ever met? I think it has to be Leonard Peikoff. I mean, in terms of my values and in terms of the things I care about, I maybe I've met some smarter mathematicians or physicists. I mean, I wish I'd met Ayn Rand, and then the answer would be easy. But yeah, I think it would be Leonard Peikoff is the smartest man I've ever heard. And the interaction was, I've talked a lot about my interactions with Leonard. So it is what it is. LMF asks, thoughts on George Reisman's textbook Capitalism? And I'll get to Dean's question in a minute. So calling it a textbook is pretty good because it's not a book you can easily read. It's like a textbook. It's massive. I don't know if you've ever seen this book. Wait there. This is the book. This is its size. Look, compared to my head. This is how thick it is. This is the size of the pages. This is massive. Where does it go? There we go. So my thoughts on it. It's brilliant. It's got many, 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 many things in it that are truly amazing and truly brilliant. Some of the most insightful stuff on economics you will ever read in that book. It's badly written in that it is written in a intrinsicist, not intrinsicist. What am I trying to say? It's written in a deductive, purely deductive, abstract way. So it's very difficult to read and understand. It's very much like Mises wrote, and Reisman was, of course, a student of Mises. So while it is truly brilliant, some of the best stuff on economics you'll find anyway, it's methodologically wrong. In a sense that it doesn't give enough examples. It doesn't show you how. He actually says, from the beginning, he says economics is a deductive science deduced from first principles. And it's not. Economics is an inductive science, induced from observations of human behavior. So methodologically wrong, brilliant in observations, brilliant in parts, very hard to hold because of its deductive nature and rationalistic way of presenting material. But I use it as a textbook. Oh, I wonder what George Reisman has to say about minimum wage. There it is. And it's always going to be brilliant. Now, if you had to read the whole thing, it would be, you couldn't hold it. How do we book you? What do you mean by booking you? I've tried, no response. Where have you tried? Yaron at yaronbrookshow.com. Yaron at yaronbrookshow.com. People are booking me all the time, so I'm not sure why it's not working, particularly given the dollar signs afterwards. So Yaron at yaronbrookshow.com, just send me an email or right now here what you want to book me for. And but yeah, email is the best way because then we can communicate and coordinate an appearance. MMTMSS. All right, not sure. What do you try to book me for? I'd be interested. All right, for a show. Write to me, Yaron at yaronbrookshow.com. Yes. That is my email. That's what I get. Yaron at yaronbrookshow.com. That comes directly to me. What would the email, under what name would the email appear? Tell me what the email would appear under. Anyway. All right. Send me an email tonight. Yaron at YaronBrookShow.com, and I'll get it. All right. All right. Dean says, Yaron, why won't you do a closing video at the end of your videos? Like, hi, this is Yaron Brook. Please subscribe and click the bell, etc. Instead of using old clips from your live shows. I don't know. That's a question for Christian, who does the videos. I don't know why he doesn't do that. But okay, that's your email. So, yeah, there are a lot of options in terms of what can be done. All right. Great. Been a good night. I hope you guys have had a good time. I hope this was enjoyable and beneficial and educational and whatever else we can think of it. Don't forget, before you leave, to like the show. There should be well over 100 likes over there. By the way, I've not gotten any emails from that email address. So not sure what's going on, but I've got no emails from that email address. If you please subscribe to my channel. If you're a first-time listener, please subscribe. And yes, share the video. Click thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to support the show. We did pretty well in Super Chat, but we could have done better. Ali wasn't here to really egg you on. I think this could have been a $800, $900 night, given that Ragnar of the Desert did 500 right off the bat. There could have been another 500 there, and it wasn't. So that's what happens when Ali's not here, and I don't do kind of fundraising in the middle. And let's see. You can become a monthly subscriber on YaronBrookShow.com/support. You can become a monthly subscriber at Patreon, Subscribestar, and Locals. All right, don't forget, like the show, subscribe, donate. See you all Saturday, before we go. Saturday, we've got a big show. Saturday is 9/11. It's September 11th. It's exactly 20 years since the 9/11. I'll be joined on Saturday by Ilan Jono and Onkar Gate. We will be doing an entire review of the year, of the 20 years, of what happened in 9/11, what should have happened post 9/11, how we responded, and what threat do we face today. So we were doing an entire review of kind of American foreign policy vis-a-vis the Middle East and Islamism. On Saturday, it'll be a long show, but I think it'll be an intense and good show. So that'll be at 2 p.m. East Coast time, 2 p.m. East Coast time. Saturday, this coming Saturday, 9/11/2021, 20 years anniversary to one of the darkest days in my lifetime. All right, everybody. I'll see you on Saturday. Bye.